Hello and welcome to this episode of Point Counterpoint. We are here as always to discuss and deliberate issues of importance and concern to the people of Goa. We come back here to discuss, to complain, to pontificate, deliberate, fight at times, and hopefully at the end of the discussion come up with some kind of a path ahead. But the topic at hand here is all about paths that are broken, deadlines that have been missed, opportunities that have been squandered, and the entire quagmire of politics, which is churning again and again in the streets of Panjim, has made this from a city of dreams and delight to a city of absolute disaster. Panjim, which was at one point of time a symbol of absolute pride, not only to people living here, the Panjakars, but at the whole of Goa, has become the biggest embarrassment of Goa. And that being the capital doesn't make it any better. We have been here so many times to discuss this, but today our deliberations, we hope, will be a little more focused on two aspects. One is getting to the root of why this kind of despondency has set in, not because of inefficiency, but because of political slackness, of course heaps of corruption, and the biggest malaise of them all is fundamental official apathy towards getting this done fast, honoring the sentiments of the people as well as the court, and even ensuring that basic deadlines and basic commitments are met. Before I introduce a very, very eminent panel here, who are not just stakeholders but fellow sufferers, who fought many battles on the streets and in the courts, let's just not forget one basic fact. This entire smart city project cannot be seen as some glass house on a tree which is isolated from the city and its governance. The project itself in 2014 was envisaged, of course, throughout the country, but here too, to enable the city administration to fulfill its vision through dedicated funding and an expert set of people carrying out stuff based on international ideas and SOPs that would build into the governance of the city. So when passing the buck is now happening between the corporation and the smart city right now, it is one of the most unfortunate and despicable things to happen, because this political buck passing was not at all the plan at any point of time. A plan that is cutting Panjim to size and leading to a complete sadness and disaster, which people are just not willing to tolerate anymore. Before I continue and open the floor, let me introduce a very eminent set of panelists. As I said, Cecil Rodriguez is a political activist. Welcome, Cecil. Cecil was also a candidate in assembly elections from Talegaon and continues to fight on the streets and elsewhere. Shivan Desai is a very senior advocate, and he's welcome, Shivan.
Thank you.
And we just recently been elected as a secretary of the Bar Association, so one more feather in his cap. But the reason why he's also here especially is because he has taken up the case for two petitioners who have approached the court on a very interesting aspect, essentially talking about the fallout of the disaster in Panjim, which is dust pollution. Then on my left we have Shayesh Mamre. Shayesh is a leading advocate, and Shayesh is somebody who is who's here also because he comes from Ribandar, which is another part of, well, I won't say a part of Panjim, but certainly an extension and part of the CCP at sorts, which has a similar problem and a deeper problem, which also does not sometimes gets missed in the larger hurly-burly of the Panjim scenario. And last but not the least, on my extreme left is Dattaprasad Naik. He understands and knows Panjim, extremely well, and somebody who's kind of again fought on the streets as a politician. Currently, he is an independent politician. He was in another dispensation, but he's had a long, sustained fight against the powers that be who've done this to Panjim. Cecil, I'll start with you. I don't have a specific question, but you could take off from where I've left off. But primarily, let us, if we could, start with the fact that deliberately or otherwise, basic commitments met to the people by everybody, whether you look at the mayor or the MLA or anybody, there doesn't seem to be any sanctity to, as far as commitments are concerned.
Yeah, I think so, Sujay. As you said, like from the start, this has been going on like for years now. And being a Taligaon card myself, and this coming to Panjim and our workers in Panjim, it's been like really hard, not only for me as a citizen, but everyone who commutes through and fro. And it's very sad because as much as promises are made every year, every month, saying that this will happen, that will happen, timelines are set, and nothing is being delivered on time. So as your question says, accountability is something that we are not saying here, and some things that we have to really ponder on, because everywhere in the country the same situation is happening. Things are starting, things are falling apart, but then everyone is there for cutting off the ribbon. Everyone's saying they're starting, breaking off the coconut, everyone is there, and everything happens. But when disaster happens, accountability is something that everyone starts throwing the buck about, and this is something we've seen this n number of times for any issue. But Panjim city being the capital city, I think so it's ridiculous, and it's very upsetting, and it's a shame to the state as a capital is facing this, and citizens, not only businesses have been lost, not only people have like injured themselves, but people have even died.
Correct.
And where the hell is the accountability? These people should be inside the jail. If a MLA is scolded at, citizens are being put in jail. But what about when people are dying? No accountability on this part. And I think so this is where, as citizens have put in PILs, my friends have put in PILs, but this is just going on, we have to document and show everything. But at the end of it, we have to hold the people elected accountable.
Advocate Desai, we'll just cut straight to the chase. Let's look at the latest deadline. Of course, we can sit here the whole night if you look at all the deadlines. But let us look at the latest deadline of May 31st. The last deadline that we know of, there could have been a few here and there later on. But let us look at May 31st, and let us not forget that there were two sitting High Court judges who had to literally get down to the streets to see what was happening. And these deadlines were given to them. Okay. Now, after the 31st of May, we still see that there are many roads that are still not complete, or roads that have been open but not yet complete. The issue is, very cleverly they must have said we are going to open the roads on 31st, but opening the roads does not mean completion of the roads. Before I come to my question, I'll just make a couple of points. The stretch from Kakulo Mall to the STP in Tonka, the 150-meter concretization has still not happened in the manner that it should happen. You all can please elaborate. Secondly, of course, Ribandar, the restoration of battered roads have not happened at all, which Harish can explain to us later. Then the laying of the service lines is, I believe there is a big problem with the laying of the service lines also, point number 3. Point number 4, the road from the Singhwal bookstore to Mahalakshmi temple, that again, that stretch is not complete, though when questions were asked, at that time the MD of CCP had very clearly said, and the smart city, had said that strict directives have been issued to complete it. And more importantly, the other aspect of this, which we don't always look at, the entire environmental aspect, the entire dust pollution. There are people who are actually suffering in their homes, and there was an asthma patient, whose husband actually had to go to court, and you are in the middle of it. So tell us a little bit about this fight of yours.
Yes, so the PIL was basically filed by one of the residents of Panjim. His wife is suffering from an asthma condition.
Yeah.
So the main issue was about dust pollution.
Right.
So I don't really want to delve too deep into the issues raised there, as also since the matter is still pending and alive, it would not be fair on my part to go into interpretation. But I'll just go on the basis of what is available in public domain. Now, if you go by what is available in public domain, one thing is very clear that it is only after the matter was taken up by the Honorable High Court that suddenly there is some kind of a momentum that the work is achieved. At least we've come a long way. There is some kind of expedition at the end of the concerned contractors. They made statements before the court. There is an element of accountability, because of which we find ourselves in a position where broadly it seems like we are heading in some direction and towards completion. But all I will say with regard to deadlines is there was a commitment made before the Honorable High Court, and there's an extension application filed. I'll leave it at that.
Extension application filed
for completion by the Smart City Corporation.
So what is the new extension that they've sought?
I don't want to get into that. All I will say, they've sought extension.
That must be in public domain, no?
Yes, but let me not. It's not fair that I really opine on that. I'll just leave it at that. I'll say that there is. They could not complete certain works, so they've sought extension. They're given reasons, which is still live before the Honorable High Court. But so from the standpoint of compliance, yes, we are very close to that. But in terms of deficient works, incomplete works, there is a lot that needs to be said. Now, Cecil has started on a very explosive note. So, but as a resident, yes. But if we're going to now look at the entire issue and then come to some conclusions, we cannot jump the gun. I think there needs to be a lot of data needs to be collected by the concerned citizens, so that the overall issue, when you talk about a forensic audit of the works, or how the contractors have not complied with the deadlines, what has led to this situation where a Panjimite was put to these onerous conditions. It is only testimony to the spirit of Panjimites that they've really did not say much for a long time. But the exasperation and the vexation today is fully justified. But I think before we really come to conclusions, there needs to be a proper post-mortem. And for that, people need to start collecting data, information. The one thing we know from the information in public domain is that work was inordinately delayed. There was it was very poorly planned. The execution was very poorly planned. There were different agencies. There was lack of coordination. But today, the Honorable High Court is also looking at just getting things done, and then possibly at some stage this issue can be taken up.
Let's hope this. I just wanted to just check this, since you're here. See, there are 4 contractors whose names have come up for different projects.
Yes.
Okay, one is Bhakya, the other is Nar Infra from Telangana, the third is the Sky Group from Bangalore, and there is one Prasad Shet from Bangalore again, I think so. No, Prasad Shet is local from Salsett.
Yes.
Now, which of these 4 contractors are a part of your petition?
No, we have not filed the petition against any particular contractor, but all that I will say is, and that's available in public domain, the Honorable High Court is also at this point of time considering whether the aspect of incomplete works or defective works and the contractor liability should be considered or not. In that context, the information is being passed on as petitioners or even lawyers for the petitioners. We don't have all the information as on today.
But that has been sought.
But that is specifically sought. Now, in which direction that matter goes into, one doesn't know. But after all that information is available, I'll be in a better position to give you further details on that. I think I have not alluded to your query with regard to the stretch from Kakulo Mall to the bridge. So only on that aspect, I think that's really taken forever. I'm not sure.
You mean Kakulo Mall to the STP Tonka? You're talking about
so I'm not sure what is the plausible explanation. I am no expert. I don't have technical expertise, but one can see that it's been going on for years.
But that concretization has not happened yet.
Concretization has not happened, and it appears that there's still some drainage work that needs to be done. But presently, where we stand, I made a request that at least some kind of a temporary carriageway could be made available, because that's a very important road when it comes to connectivity.
Right.
And it's almost like an arterial road. So that's where we are at.
Okay. Advocate Mamre, we'll switch quickly to Ribandar, but you're at absolute liberty to discuss, get into this also. But I'm essentially saying is that because there are massive problems in Ribandar. For somehow, though Ribandar is just next door, somehow we don't kind of get into it so deeply. But again, if you could just extrapolate the same issues and put it in Ribandar and just enlighten us as to what really is happening in Ribandar as far as this is concerned.
The mess in Ribandar has happened because of the sewage treatment plant they want to set up there and the sewage lines that are being laid.
Right.
Now for that, they thought that March was an appropriate time to cut and dig the roads.
Right.
Now not looking at the challenges at the site at Loco.
Right.
They were more concerned with digging of the roads and laying the pipelines.
Okay.
Now even there was one dramatic meeting that was called for, in which the project was explained to the citizens. Now in that particular meeting, certain questions were raised by the citizens as regards to the topography.
Right.
Now there are basic issues in Ribandar as regards to even the putting up this project in Ribandar. For example, if one goes through the stretches of Ribandar, numerous houses are on the river side.
I see. Yes,
now,
of course. Yes.
Their septic tanks are somewhere 7-8 meters down below the road level. The sewage lines are being laid on the road level. How do you pump that sewage on top? Now these specific questions were put forth even to the MD Sanjit Rodriguez. Now he had no answers to that. But yet in the month of March he thought that it was an appropriate time to go ahead and dig it, and the digging happened.
Right.
The questions were put forth then when we will see the rainbow of good roads.
Sure.
On 31st May we will see that or not. Now superficial cosmetic roads were made that got washed away in the first rains. Ribandar was so well equipped during the time of Chikalkalo to host a Chikalkalo. Even today, the government can give us an off-roading permission. The roads are best suited for it. That is absolutely.
So where do you see you wonderfully kind of laid down the scenario, but where do you think the blame lies?
The blame lies in execution. The blame absolutely lies in execution, and there are certain loudmouths who think that they can do anything under the sky. Now they have been taking this smart city mission.
Like who?
Sanjay Rodriguez. I don't shy away from taking names. He thinks that he can run it in an anarchy, like an anarchy smart city mission. It doesn't happen that way.
But can you pin it down to just one man? At the end of the day, he is a government servant working in the system. My issue is, okay, there may be enough issues to point fingers at, but can it be just one man to be hanged?
See, today, if anything comes up, today who addresses the press conferences on behalf of the smart city is Sanjay Rodriguez. Not that I am not siding away with the MLA or the mayor, I am not on that issue also. But he is taking up the matters to say that he is doing all the works. Even if you see his press conferences, he says that he is doing the work. Now, if you are doing the work, then you are responsible for it. I am not saying that the MLA and the mayor should close their eyes and see whatever is happening in a good and a rosy manner.
You are saying the occupant of that seat needs to be responsible.
That's absolutely.
Prasad, I know you have a lot to say. I'll go completely into the politics of it, because I do believe very strongly that the political either will or deficiency or incompetence or one-upmanship has ultimately led to this total disaster. Let's kind of very clearly say it as it is. You cannot have a situation where you have the mayor of the city, Rohit Monserrat, the MLA of the city, who is his father. The point is, Babush Monserrat as the MLA also plays a part in the smart city ecosystem. He cannot delink himself to it officially and otherwise. And so obviously there has to be, somebody has to fix this. Now, before I hand it over to you completely, I'll just read out certain quotes made by both sides to show how deep the divide is. This is Rohit Monserrat saying, what has happened in the first rain, we do not want to happen it again. For no fault of the CCP, we have to listen to the people. We have to carry out this cleaning again. The mud from projects have gone back into the drains. The shopkeepers are irritated and so are we. You can imagine how much smart city officials care about the problems of the people. This is the mayor talking about the smart city. The smart city officials will have to complete their projects and clear the flood points. And I'll just give you Sanjit Rodriguez's response. This is not the time to blame anybody. Mayor has his views and we respect that. We are working together and all agencies have come together. PANJIM has to get the benefits of this work. I say that we are putting in the best efforts and we've understood the gravity of the situation and so on and so forth. I'll stop here. You take over.
I think this is some fourth or fifth debate we are doing on smart city. Okay. See, first thing. Now, again, I think this is the fourth or fifth time I'm again repeating the same thing. We had assembly elections in 2022 in March. And some funds which were left with this smart city, just so that they don't go back to the center. This sewerage project was taken up. Shivam used the word poor planning. There was no planning. It was without any planning, without any proper consultation, that this project was sanctioned so that the money remains with these people and they make a merry out of it. Let me make a clear allegation of this. You just took the name of the father and the son. It's the husband, wife and the son trio. That's the MLA of PANJIM, MLA of Talegaon and the mayor, who also represents 10 wards of Talegaon. And now we cannot use the word again passing the buck or the blame game, or as he rightly said, they had no action plan for Ribandar, they didn't know the topography. Even that is not an excuse. I'll tell you why. Because 2010, this same family executed the sewerage project for Talegaon constituency. And we are in 2024 now. So all the soil challenges, everything, they very much knew. What is the groundwater level? As he said, they started digging in March. It was very clear that this area can be only dug in March and April, maximum in February, because the groundwater table in this area is so high that you cannot lay the pipes. We have to go really deep down. So all these challenges were faced even during the construction of the Miramar Donapaula concretization.
Right.
And Sanjit was the in charge of CCP that time. So even Sanjit cannot wash his hands. Sanjit also very much knew that these are the challenges over there. So they should have taken all these things into account. They should have not hurriedly sanctioned a sewerage project. They should have probably waited for a year or so, done the proper planning and then executed. And the main problem with PANJIM, which we were again saying before the assembly elections, PANJIM has an existing sewerage line.
Existing, as in, yes, correct.
Talegaon didn't have an existing sewerage line, so they were laying new pipes there.
So Talegaon was literally a greenfield project.
Absolutely. So this is a replacement of the existing sewerage line.
Right.
So while replacing, they have again, damaged the pipes across PANJIM, and that's the reason why we are seeing sewerage overflowing, especially in Santines, where she was again and again taking videos and all sorts of press conferences. But nobody is bothered. There is no accountability. It's not that it's coming in her house. She's talking for the people.
Correct.
It's not that Shivam is having any issues. Shivam is representing the people of PANJIM here with all the efforts he's taking in the court.
Yes,
now, the persons who were actually supporting the current MLA, now even today they are fed up with what's happening. Even they are talking about it. He didn't take names, but from his language, it's pretty evident that the residents of Ribandar as well as PANJIM who are supporting the MLA also are fed up. But what next? All this time I was saying in your previous debates also that we appeal to the Chief Minister. Now let me make it very clear. There is no more appeals now. We have to say this is a total failure from Dr. Pramod Sawant. He is the head of the state. And these are his students. The husband, wife and the son are his students. So he is a bad headmaster. It's a complete collapse of governance. We have seen it in the Asagaon issue where the DGP,
of course, correct.
What the DGP did, and now we are seeing what the Chief Secretary is doing. So the top people at the helm of affairs only are involved in all sorts of wrongdoings in Goa. Now what do we expect? So the only thing I think now is the 2027 elections and the 26 CCP elections, where people of Panjim and Talegaon have to firmly decide that we need good councillors. We don't need those envelopes that are going to come with the votes. We will need good people who will be there street fighting for them, like how Cecil is doing, and many more are doing. And people like Shivam will have to actually come into electoral politics for all these things. So that's the need of the hour. That's the need of the hour today.
Correct.
See, we just cannot expect, sitting in the studios debating or sitting in AC offices and just waiting somebody to do. We'll have to come on the field and form a nice team. And that's the only change until unless this family goes out.
Yes.
And this chief minister also, let me be very clear now, it's too much now. Now we have to start an agitation against this entire government, and time has come for everybody to get together. Otherwise, see, the next 2 years I cannot see anything changing in Panjim, because it's just a 50% of the digging that is done. Still another 50% of Panjim has to be dug. So I cannot see anything positive happening even under Sanjeev or under this chief minister or the husband-wife son trio.
Okay, so he's opened up a lot of points, lot of things to unpack, and he's flagged a lot of very important issues and suggested a way forward as well. See, so I'll stick to the same aspect of this, in the sense that, of course, we are calling it buck passing, and of course, both of them elaborated exactly what is happening. I'd like you to dwell a little bit on the politics of it, but more importantly, can these two organizations, the CCP and the Smart City, work at such cross purposes that whenever it comes to, they're either blaming the PWD or one is blaming each other. The point here is that this needs to be kind of raised a little bit more, saying that you cannot isolate these two units. There has to be collective responsibility of both the CCP and the Smart City.
If you see, when you have people elected to fight a certain cause or do a certain project, and if you don't take people into consideration first, like how in Raibandar case, like they had asked certain questions, and if you have not listened to the people and not thought of executing what the people are saying, okay, fine, they will face a problem. And today that's the situation that everyone's facing, because they have a plan, they have a vision, but not taking people into consideration has become the biggest fault of today. Like even you spoke about Kakulo Mall Road. That road started now, it's been 2.5 years it had started. Why that road was left, not completed and gone on the Madhuban side? And the same contractor given after the disaster happening there, the disaster was given back again to the circle which is at Madhuban. Till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning work is going on. Senior citizens are upset and this. Now, as a body, don't you all have time restrictions just because you all need to hurry up? I mean, I know the question that you asked me, but I'm trying to think like how do we, put that forward? How do we say that these people, they are all involved in this?
I remember in Madhuban there was one building that was completely blocked for months, where people could not even get in, and there was a senior citizen who was trying to get in. He injured his foot and fractured.
I had assisted 11 o'clock in the night. They didn't leave a pathway near the cemetery. She slipped, she fell. There was no ambulance that could come to her rescue. And then the son called me up until I think so she's still recovering from a shoulder dislocation that she has had.
Right, correct.
But it's a citizen that also play a very important. Now, how many people have fallen down, including my mom at Kakulo Mall? She has fallen down. And I told Mommy, let's go make a complaint. You know what she said? Nah, it's okay. Who's going to go? Who's going to... This is a situation.
That's one. And then one of our ex-colleagues, senior journalist Joit Lopez, his wife fell in and injured herself. Yes. And then, of course, a former councillor's son died.
Yes.
And even near Kakulo Mall, we are only talking about a prominent people, but those poor laborers who died.
Correct.
With that drain that collapsed and that tanker which went inside.
Why should we forget that?
The poor laborers also, they lost their lives.
Two laborers died, in fact, I think.
So who will ultimately pay for these debts?
Who's paying for that? And people, are they coming forward and registering the complaints? Today, I think so, if every citizen had faced inconvenience and lodged a complaint, people are scared to lodge complaints because they either do not want to face the bad side of CCP because then their work won't be done.
Right.
Revenge politics also happens over here big time with the Montserrat family. We openly say, because we can see it happening. You raise your voice, I'm sure the family who died also, they must have been paid in huge compensation, because you can't see that case being talked about anywhere now.
Right.
So these are the situations that, everyone has been put with money and been held, or people do not want to face that inconvenience of going to the police station, because when you're a victim, you are made to suffer even more than the accused.
Right.
So this is a situation of our. So you will able to tell as a lawyer that you don't get justice quickly.
Correct.
You don't get compensation.
See, the smart city cannot blame the CCP and CCP cannot blame the smart city, because the people who are leading both these organizations, like there's the MLA of Panjim and the mayor, they are present on both the boards.
Right. Right.
So as a mayor, he is also a representative of the smart city board, and as an MLA,
he is also
he's also there on that. So they have all been present for those meetings.
Correct.
So that passing the buck cannot happen.
Yeah, right.
So it's very clear that it's a total failure of the Montserrat family. Means the entire trio in this, what is the mess that's happening right now. Because I still remember in 2013-14. When the road near my office was dug for laying the sewerage lines, people used to actually stop over there and shout at us.
Right. Right.
They used to stop outside our office and shout what your BJP is doing and what the hell is happening. And we used to really feel embarrassed. Now people don't have the guts to go outside his house and shout in the same way. It's a terrible situation across in Taligaon and everywhere.
See, every road connecting is in a very bad state.
Okay, I'll quickly come to Advocate Shivan. A couple of issues where which we need to flag here. See, one is, let us look at the legal remedies which are there with the people, and maybe they are not aware of it or they're not exercising it. Now, with regard to Delivery of Goods and Services Act, I'm just asking as a layperson, can the law actually be an enabler, taking into account the various acts that are there right now and the various rules that are there right now? And if you can just throw light on certain legal remedies that can be taken by the people within the existing legal ecosystem when these kind of services fail.
Well, absolutely. I think let me first make it clear that I'm invited on the panel to give a legal perspective. So I'll stay out of any kind of political statement.
That's why I'm not asking. That's why I'm not asking you any of those questions. Or to even
react to the context of what Datta Prasad said.
See, what Datta Prasad said is very interesting, but we're not asking you to react.
Yeah, but that's for some other day. But that's the only reason I've come here, and that's the question I think which is what I would really want to give my perspective on. But before that, I'll just lay a foundation to say that we can discuss this till the cows come home.
Sure.
But the point really is that what do we take away from this one as residents of Panjim and as
absolutely
goals?
Absolutely.
Now the first and foremost the aspect is that which is also linked to the remedies. First is the concerned citizens, because here what's happening is we'll be discussing this. There'll be a lot of these forums and social media where you do name dropping, but unless there is concrete information data available, which I'm sure there will be, looking at the way the work has gone on.
Right.
The first thing is to just be well informed, get the data out, and then do a little bit of study on what these contracts were all about. As she said, well, how are the same contractors given another work? What were the timelines?
Right.
What were the timelines given initially? Who has defaulted? Which is the other agency which then just stepped in and again started digging when the road works were completed.
Right.
So I think the main problem is that's where every legal remedy starts with regard to the works done is first collect data and information which is available in public domain and do some kind of an analysis, whether it's forensic audit or otherwise. Just to, I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about a very expertise and something which requires too much of an expertise, not an expert job.
Right.
But broadly, what are the timelines and who is defaulted, and so there are certain things that are quite apparent even to the naked eye in terms of how come the contracts were, what are the manner they were, how were the extensions granted, whether the money was paid.
Right.
So this is the first thing. Then come the next step of really taking it up before. Now there is another petition that is filed with regard to this deficient works. But if that is taken up, fine, but a citizen can approach the court and say, well, there needs to be an inquiry with regard to the manner in which this work has been executed in terms of deficiency, the inconvenience caused to the public, as deficiency in service, as also the various accidents that have taken place, including a loss of life.
Right.
So looking at the manner in which the work has been executed and the
so you think they can all be independent litigations, PILs?
Yeah, a PIL before the court to say that as residents, as citizens, we demand an inquiry into these works, in which starts from the planning stage to the manner in which contracts are awarded, to whom they were awarded, who complied with it, how were the payments made, and why did it take, because today when we debate, we don't have that information. So invariably this will just be another debate and we'll keep doing this in every fora. So that's the first thing. If you're looking at concrete steps, that's the first step.
Idea, yes.
Second is you go and maybe demand an independent inquiry into this before whichever forum, including the High Court. So one is you can go in a PIL. A lot of the residents are aware, wherein you point out this is what the inconvenience that is caused to us. The works have been executed. They're all been done by public agencies. So there has to be some accountability. How is it that whether there is any increase in the budget for the works because of the delay, and all of that, the liability has to be pinned down to the concerned contractor or maybe the concerned officials who are responsible. But so we are far from getting that information. We are far from doing that study, and that's the first step. Secondly, as regards the deficiency of work, there are some judgments even to say that even public works comes in the definition of consumer disputes. It's quite interesting. Some forums have taken that point of view. So you can even say this amount of deficient work, because as a citizen, I'm entitled for roads which are free of potholes, so that there shouldn't be any kind of an issue or impediment in the free flow of traffic, and it should be incident free. So the very fact that these incidents have taken place, that and the manner in which we are put to inconvenience for a length of time, it's very clear as deficiency of service. Thirdly, now we talk about criminal liability. Now these are civil contracts, so we really can't directly criminalize these civil issues. But in a scenario where there is a contractor who has just completely abandoned work, and the whole idea was to deceive people, the element of cheating can come in. But more importantly, I think what we are concerned about are is the loss of life or the loss of lives that have taken place. So there definitely there are criminal sections which come into play, whether it's the IPC, even today the BNS. So the relevant provisions would be Rash and Negligent Act leading to death, which again under BNS they've enhanced the punishment. But since these works were taken up before 1st of July, IPC was applicable. So even under IPC, the Rash and Negligent Act, the 304A, then if it is a little more serious, where he has just left work unattended, dug a trench, knowing very well that at night and there is no illumination, there's knowing very well that that can lead to a disaster, lead to a death. So then again, it could be a more stringent provision of culpable homicide not amounting to murder, which is 304 part 2 of the old IPC, which is a very serious offence which can go up to 10 years. Now, as she says, for whatever reason, nobody has come forward to really file these cases for whatever reason. But from the standpoint of the judicial system or the district delivery system, well, you can't leave it completely to the courts. Ultimately, the citizens, it has to be a collaborative effort. Unless somebody comes with a complaint for some reason, the affected do not want to come with a complaint. The citizens don't want to come with a complaint. And well, then you really can't say that, no, well, now the court should take it up. So
you're saying that if
so it has to be a collaborative effort. And the last thing that I would like to say is that the takeaway from this is that I think the message is loud and clear that Panjimites, or for that matter Goans, or no citizens should be taken for granted. They will not, going forward, tolerate to the extent that they have done now. And so going forward, it's about laying down guidelines and making sure that there is responsibility pinned on the day when the work starts. So that is where we should look at taking this conversation forward and taking it to a logical conclusion. Otherwise, this blame game now, this post-mortem is fine. We should pin liability.
But what do we learn from this? Correct.
The takeaway is important for
no, I think you made some very important points. Just one last question based on this. If and of course, obviously, it inspires many of us to, and many people here, to look at this very seriously. If this happens, and one wish it happens when citizens come up, then will public-spirited lawyers like you also take this up and take it forward? I'm not saying you
have every reason to even see. I can speak for myself. I can speak for a lot of members of our fraternity. Nobody has shied away from taking up public causes. We are not as materialistic as people, some of them, perceive us to be. It is not that every case is for commercial gains. But even this matter, whether I may be a Panjimite, but it is about concern for the citizens, for the locals, for the residents. It is not just about Panjim. It's, I'm sure, going forward, if there is these large scale works being done in other parts of Goa, I can speak for my fraternity also to an extent, so everyone will just step up. You just have to approach them and say, these are our concerns. It is not about putting money on the table.
Correct. No, it opens up a lot of vistas. I'll just come to you, Prasad. You're dying to comment on this, but I'll let you come in 2 minutes. I'll just get to Sai. Look, I mean, though you have again spoken about Ribandar, but I'll just expand the thing a little bit more. Let us also look at, we have talked about the big guys and the big family and so on and so forth. I'm sure there's a lot of merit in this. What is important here is also to look at the people who get elected from the wards, which ultimately brings a set of people into power. Okay, we need to look into city politics at its lowest level. Okay, the point here is, where has the change happened? Where it almost seems as if the corporator or the councillor, as the case may be, who's such an important place, such an important part in the civic ecosystem, why have they ultimately, and I mean no disrespect to anybody, I'm just talking of the system, why are they literally like pawns who are just there to ensure that a king and the queen remain on the chessboard?
Well, factually, looking into the entire political scenario of Panji city, the corporators get elected on the panels.
Right.
They have their allegiance towards the either side of the panels.
Correct.
So nobody wants to go against the master. That is a undrawn.
But what happens to your civic duty?
That is.
See, when you even ask these questions, people start laughing. But at the end of the day, we cannot forget
that
you are getting elected to perform a civic function, not a political function.
What Datta Prasad said was correct. That at certain point in time, it is for the people to realize whom to vote for. There lies the root problem. You cannot go on vote on the ground that certain leader is backing somebody. See, even if you are from a particular political party, it is for you to get vocal and come out and say that this is wrong. It is a responsibility of every elected person.
Correct. Yes.
It may be a MLA, it may be a minister, it may be to an extent even the chief minister, if some of his department is not functioning properly. You have to get vocal. See, today people are forgetting that all this what is happening, these elected representatives are forgetting that what is happening, people are looking at you. What steps you are taking towards it. Another important facet of democracy is opposition. Barring few like Datta Prasad and her, I don't find opposition in Panjim at all.
Correct.
There has to be a strong coercive opposition. You cannot pinpoint towards two particular roads to say they are not done properly. You require to have a vocal opposition. Then only the ones in the ruling have their feet on the ground. Now today, nobody is opposing. It is like people like us who are talking about it.
No, so my next question is, why are people not opposing? The point here is that how is it that in every election after election there is no opposition in there? I mean, there's a clean sweep all the time.
No, the opposition is always there.
No, even when people are elected, the opposite party never gets elected.
That is because of the best known reasons to everybody. I think they should know them.
Correct.
I will not go. I will not dwell onto that.
Yeah, but you flag Prasad. I'll hand this over to you again. The question that I asked him remains the same for you.
First thing, I'm being told by many corporators that if we go with from the ruling side, that if we go with any issues to the mayor, he directly tells him, my dad has spent money and got you elected. So I don't want you to make much more noise. Just let things happen the way it is happening. So this is the answers they are getting from the mayor. Actually, it's in a much worse language, which I cannot say in front of the media. But that's the reality. So the corporators who are elected on the ruling side, they have no guts to talk in front of the mayor nor the boss, their boss who was heading the panel. Then I think only
that is the reason why I actually wanted the honorable mayor to be here. But the point is, let's kind of just one disclaimer. If there is any response to this and the mayor wants to respond to this, we welcome a response.
I would challenge the MLA, forget the mayor, for an open debate on these issues. Let us talk from 2010, when he was the education minister and an MLA of Talegaon. till probably today, all the wrongdoings which has happened pertaining to sewerage, let us only keep it to sewerage. That is the sewerage project which started in 2010 in Talegaon, still not completed, and the mess in the sewerage project in PANJIM. See, there were some good things which were executed in this smart city project also. When Manohar Bhai was the chief minister, there was underground laying of electrical cables, which was actually a good project. And my dear friend, Mr. Saish Mamre, when Siddharth contested, he was again yelling that time, ki the rebandar is dug and all those things. That was dug actually for this electrical cables.
That was done in Happy That time also
Okay.
paid opposed.
But because of that digging that time and the laying of the electrical cables, we saw a huge power cutoff due to some cyclone in Goa a few years ago.
Right.
But PANJIM didn't have any electricity issues. That was because of that project.
Okay.
So actually it was a very good project which was very wrongly executed by the family.
Right.
Now, when it comes to the other issues, what Shivam actually was giving, the options with the citizens.
Way forward, yes.
See, the common man today, the lower middle class, they are probably bothered about their family today. They need government jobs. So they cannot have bad books with the ruling dispensation. They have a hope for some government job, they need to go to the MLA. And the higher class, the higher income group, they are into some sort of businesses. They again cannot afford to have bad books with these people, because as even Cecil pointed out, they take a very strong revenge in everything. There are a lot of other things happening. So nobody wants to be in bad books with them.
What is the solution? Because what Shivan said were path-breaking initiatives.
Yeah.
But and you are flagging some practical issues. But then if that is true, then we reach a dead end.
The only solution, going to the court. Everybody knows that court things don't happen very easily.
Very quickly. Yes.
And again, there is money involved in that. Now, it was kind enough on Shivam telling that they will do it voluntarily. But as a common man, when he thinks of court, he thinks of huge fees. And the only solution to this is we have 3 elections coming up. The ZP elections, teach them a lesson here. We have a municipality elections coming up across Goa. I'm not talking about only Panjim. Teach the ruling dispensation a lesson here. And finally, the 2024. This government has 27. To go. Yeah, 27, sorry. 2027. See, there is no more fear. 2024 Lok Sabha elections has shown that they are not invincible. There is no 400 par. It is only 240. So
but
that
Prasad,
thing that they cannot be defeated.
But Prasad, my issue is subsequent in the last 3 to 4 elections at any level, ZP or council or whatever. The point here is that the results have had a similar pattern. For instance, in CCP, Mabish Monserrat wins all the time.
Talegaon
No,
elections also then again.
See, you cannot say all the time. See, it was very close, apart from the last elections, which was manipulated. We saw all the ward delimitation. And again, there was no opposition, because even we were not in a situation whether we go against our own party or not.
Right.
We were also in 2 minds.
Right.
So we were supporting certain candidates from behind. We were not out in the open. It's not going to happen this time. I'm sure myself and some leaders from Panjim as well, I would not take names, but they will be out in the open. We will have a panel, or we will have a proper panel for this CCP. And again, as I said, the only solution is electorally defeat them.
But do you
That is
feel-
the only solution.
But will that happen now? Okay, I'll just come to you now. Prasad of course has given another way forward from his side, looking at things practically. Now the point here is that suppose we take his solution and we take Shivan's solution. Let's look at both, and miraculously let's hope both will work. Beyond that, do you actually think that this will ensure that the smart city functions well, there is no corruption, and it'll happen? I'm not being a skeptic. I'm just asking questions because it's very important to take this to its logical conclusion.
No.
Because future generations cannot suffer like we have.
No. What Datta Prasad is saying as regards to one electoral solution,
Right.
that is long time to go.
Right.
Now immediately we have only one solution to go to the courts doors of the court.
Right.
That is the only possible solution at this point in time. Because now today, whatever the smart city is working today, it is only because of the intervention of the court.
Right.
Otherwise, they would have taken everybody for a ride.
Right.
Where they were working, they were not working at all. It is only because when there is somebody, authority monitoring on top,
Right.
that is when they have started working actually. And I mean, you can see some kind of a progress. But again, the issues remain as regards to the quality of work, the execution of the work. Those issues remain.
Right.
But at least something is moving on the ground.
Correct. Correct.
We are not at a standstill position.
Correct. Correct. You already kind of given a lot of suggestions. There are two things. One, you can sum up what you said. That's one. The other thing is, I'd like to flag just one thing. We've not focused too much on these deaths and injuries that have happened.
Yes.
And they've happened. And they are not isolated cases. There are people who've died. There are laborers who've passed away. There are people who got injuries. In the larger subset of the larger proposition that you laid out, can we get on to this first, because this has already happened? So essentially, either some justice for people who died. Can this be an immediate focused campaign?
No, absolutely. That's the reason I alluded to those provisions
Yes.
of the IPC, whether it is 304A, death by negligence. You consider that as a negligent act, it is quite serious. But then if you take it to the next level, saying that on the basis of some kind of material, to say that the manner in which the work was done was haphazard, it was very clear that there could be a scenario where one could foresee that it could lead to bodily injury or harm or death because of the manner in which work were left unattended. That is when you take it to the next level. It's for the police to investigate and come to a conclusion that it's more serious than that. When you take it to 304B, which becomes culpable homicide not amount to murder. So, but the thing under in criminal law is anybody can set it into motion. So it's not that I take the point that Saish made, that sometimes the concerned people, they do not have the wherewithal or they don't have the courage to take it up. But any citizen can put the criminal law into motion to say that, well, there is a death, there is it was linked to some works which according to us is deficient, and then therefore they can investigate and FIR can be registered. But the point really is that as much as we try to jump to conclusions here, eventually it has to be a studied and well informed process. You file a complaint, you leave it to the police, see how they investigate, give all the assistance to the police. But if they still find that, well, it is not just something that could be, if not police, she has a
point.
Not a point. She's making a point without saying anything. But these are the systems. I think wherever the courts have come, I don't quite agree that we need to be naysayers about everything. Now, we don't live in an utopian world. It's an imperfect world. But in all of that, you have to knock the doors of the court wherever you feel that there is some kind of indulgence shown by authorities, including investigating agencies. But nobody is really putting the system into motion and testing it.
Correct.
So instead of just sitting back and possibly commenting and being sarcastic about it, we need to just put it into motion.
Correct.
And then so this complaint can be taken up depending on the level of negligence. Then a serious offence could be registered. The concerned contractor can be made accountable. But if for some reason there is contributed negligence, there are so many aspects to it. So I really feel that now that so much time has elapsed, that we need to have a very studied kind of discussion, so that at least I'm not getting political about it.
It's a very fair point. No, in this entire
all that I can say is this: Saish is all set to get in the political life from all his conversation today.
No, but I think what is important is your contributions are extremely important, because it's at least flagged an issue that
because as he said, this is a fourth debate apparently, but to really channelize it in the right direction, you channelize the energy in the right direction to achieve a particular purpose. It's not that this discussion is something that a court is expected to take up suo moto. So we have all these well-informed citizens who are educated, who have the wherewithal, and they have the spirit to take it up. And the fact of the matter is, it's been 2.5 years. It took 2.5 years for somebody to come to the court and say that the work is not being done, and through 2.5 years, everybody suffered the process.
Fair point. So, Cecil, this is this last round. We'll sum it up. I'd just like to open up one more interesting point here. See, you have been on the streets. You've fought. There are a lot of young people who've been with you, both in during elections and other issues. People look forward to a lot of these reels that you made as a civic activist and all that. So all that, of course, did create a good narrative. Now, looking at say 2027 or the other elections that are coming up, see, a bit of what Prasad says can also happen if we bring in students and the younger generation who are between 18 and say 21, 22 to ultimately look into the issues of the city and surroundings even more, because ultimately the whole election system cannot only be kind of controlled or dominated just by hard-nosed political people. Ultimately, if there's a change, that civil society itself also has to be part of the process of fighting as well as getting into electoral politics in whichever way, irrespective of parties. We're not talking of parties. What more can be done towards energizing that? Because those minds may be more attuned to doing what he said. Yeah.
I think so. The young voters, as would say, everyone faces inconvenience. But the whole reason sometimes you don't see the youth coming forward is either pressure from the parents.
Right.
We've had a lot of things where we try to engage youth to come on board, come, let's do a campaign.
Right.
But everyone says, my mother won't send me, my father won't send me.
Correct.
Very few come out openly.
Right.
And it depends also which section of the society.
Sure.
And which part, where some people bold enough will directly come.
Correct.
Irrespective what parents say. But I think so what we can say is the parents of today, if you are not going to help your children to voice up and talk about it now and be part of, lot of discussions. Even in colleges, they have discussions, but it remains to discussions. Ground, no one comes out forward and, do campaign.
Right.
That if y'all don't come forward right now, y'all are going to be the sufferers, because we are already in half our age, in our 40s and our 50s. We've seen disaster in the making. Y'all are only going to get the worst of it. And if y'all don't step forward, and if your parents don't support you, then I don't see it coming forward. So what we have to try and make sure is the youth, if you all are watching this episode, and parents, if you all are watching, it's now. It's now or never. We say, Sadan Sami Sangta, Ami Goinkar Monon, Fude Sorpak Zai. Pun Bienaka Dumi. Like, don't fear. Come out, and if you reside in a vicinity where you're troubled, it is your civic duty to come out and voice up and represent your people in numbers. Take signatures, start a campaign together. Few of us who are sitting here can't be doing that for everyone. Each one's responsibility it is for your area, for your section of the village, or your, your CCP section of it, because I reside in a village, so I'll talk about the village wards. But in your section, you have to come out and voice up right now. Take signature campaign. Someone can lead, someone can follow. Sometimes people don't like to lead. They want to follow somebody. So one person should be made a leader by unanimous vote. But as we have votes where citizens come together and vote, it should happen in sections. And even with CCP, they should have a lot of engagement with people, community talking. That doesn't happen.
Right.
Cooperators should come down on ground, discuss certain matters, issues and things like that, which doesn't happen. And yeah, it is a fact.
You should actually tell about the Ward number 1 incident. When he said youth.
During the Panchayat elections, I was the one who nominated, like a signatory for the candidate, OBC candidate, educated boy. Second day, he was kidnapped.
Okay.
He was kidnapped and then he was withdrawn from election. So this is how it is. You want to stand, the family was so excited, like my son is getting OBC, is getting to stand for election. This is the youth, as in you're talking about the youth. But he was kidnapped. And then in the end, he was asked to withdraw, and now where is he? I think so he might have been promised a government job or something like that. But this is the sad situation where 3 of our candidates were asked to pull off.
Right.
So
again, I'll move away from politics again, because but one important point. See, can the legal fraternity and lawyers here have some kind of a dialogue with colleges and educational institutions, just to kind of ensure that there's a little more engagement and they are a little more aware of their rights and duties on the legal front?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a very constructive point. And although we've thought about it, but it's not really put into action, because I think every person, whether he's a lawyer, non-lawyer, should be aware of his rights.
Right.
Once you are aware of your rights, you know that nobody can really take you for granted, as much as a person may say whatever one wants to. But eventually, there is a constitution which supports you, and you can't be subjugated beyond a point. So that has to be done. But what happens is, lawyers, we are supposed to be officers of the court. So we can't be directly associated with the cause at the same time, argue matter, because then we have some kind of vested interest in it. So therefore, invariably it is for citizens to bring it up through a concerned lawyer, and then it's for the concerned lawyer to take it up to the level required, so that actually the justice is done to the extent that
maybe law colleges can do it, because law colleges can do it.
Yes, but you are right. But I think legal fraternity can come up with some kind of a movement so that they go through to the law colleges and tell them to take up issues, as Cecile says, be bold about it, and they have direct access to court, so they can they have knowledge about the legal requirements as well. So I think that's a fair point, and that could be a constructive takeaway from this.
Good. Sesh, now there is a political way forward. There is a civic, legal way forward. How do you see this according to you? I mean, is it a mix of both? Are you hopeful or are you totally skeptical?
No, it is it is high time that people come on the roads. Even the electric project, what he spoke about, that is the time when ribbon cars marched into the chief engineer's office under the ruling dispensation of Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar. We did not care who was there on the power. So that was important. It is for people to come on the roads. Till people do not come on the road, nothing is going to happen. You cannot wait for elections to happen, for things to happen. You cannot suffer over the 5 years.
You want it faster than what Prasad is saying.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Forget during elections.
Please sum up and then I'll...
See, the way he's saying come on the roads, practically it is not going to happen, because everybody needs a government job. Nobody wants to be transferred from his service to Kankon or to Bicholim or to Valpoi. So practically it is not going to happen.
Everybody need a government job. I mean, out of the entire population of Panjim,
in the family. See, we are practically there on the field.
So absolutely.
We know what is happening.
That's why I'm asking. Yes.
That is the reason why I have not even tried to mobilize a crowd for all this andolans and all those things.
You are saying just strike once during
Yes. Because I know it is going to happen for one day. We will mobilize a crowd of maybe 2,000-3,000 people for one day. The next day, people cannot sit over there. They need to work to feed their family. And plus, again, the other issues, as I said, nobody wants to be transferred. And then Saish, I would like to respond to his corruption issue, which he said that further corruption should not happen. See, corruption has already happened. The 1 crore cameras that we all know. And plus, the Bakia, this contractor, this was the same contractor who was doing the Taligaon sewerage. So, corruption has happened at every level.
Yes.
The money has gone right from top till bottom. So nobody can just do finger pointing at others. Whoever was involved in this, there has definitely been, corruption in this smart city project. And that was the very reason why it was haphazardly handed over to this contractors. Because when just 1 month is left for the election.
So you're saying the election route is the only route?
Election route is the only route. We need to be on the field now. There is a very good leader in Panjim already present. All of us have to be behind that leader. He knows who I am referring to. Panjim already has a good leader. It's high time we need to stand by him.
He has to be little vocal.
He will be vocal. Even Saish can be his voice.
We have a very political debate on this.
Since in the last 2 months, since the time all these issues have been raised, in the last 2 months, the concerned agencies have been very proactive in ensuring that issues raised are addressed on real-time basis. So there has been, I think, a positive mindset which is somehow on display for the last few months. So that's I really feel that this we should come to a closure very soon.
Just one more. Even after the courts intervening, we all saw that the cosmetic things which were happening. They were washing the roads, especially near Madhuban.
Putting the pavers that are loose. People got injured there also.
And now we have also seen what has been done in Batlem now. I think she made some video, and next day some pavers were being put back. Some pavers are being put there. The pavers are coming out. Just 2 days ago,
one person very badly.
Very badly. Those are the stretches identified for immediate rectification.
So even the temporary thing that they are doing is actually of third-class quality. Let us use this word. It's really bad.
We have run out of time, unfortunately, so we'll have to end this. But though this is a discussion which was absolutely riveting. See, on the 14th of October 2015, the Smart City project was launched in Panjim. We had the then Deputy Chief Minister, Francis D'Souza. The Mayor of Panjim at that time was Shubham Chodankar, and the MLA was Siddharth Kumkulik. Now, almost 10 years have passed, and I mean the 10th year is going to happen now. 9 years have passed. It happened in 2015. Now, in these 9 years, it has actually been an absolute detailed journey of, as I said, disaster and disappointment. And the point here is that we have had debates, discussions, a few agitations here and there. But at the end of the day, when we complete the 9th year and move into the 10th year, what have we given PANJIM and what have we taken away? And if you do this whole audit, the result is very clear. The balance sheet is completely in the red, and PANJIM as a city has really sunk and gone back, irrespective of the number of film festivals we have. And now you have film festivals on one road and dug up roads just behind it. So the point here is that at the end of the day, all of us are here because at some level we are not just political beings or legal beings or activists or journalists. We are also concerned citizens who feel the pain at some level. And if this could be happening to the most important city in Goa, then we shudder to think what's going to happen in other urban centers. So this is also reflective of very inefficient urban planning and management, or no urban planning and management, riddled with the other very serious and perhaps credible allegations of absolute corruption, and using the funds that are coming into smart city. And that is the biggest allegation that is being made, that the smart city funds have been used and misused to fill private pockets and not repair the city or to take it to the glorious standards that it deserves. And I think this is where we lie. But we just cannot sit, as Advocate Shivan very articulately pointed out, that the law is still an enabler, even though it may be slow at times, even though it may take time at times, and we may feel that justice is getting constricted and restricted. But the law is a huge enabler. It just needs to be knocked properly, and the right doors need to be knocked for it to be opened up. That is one part. What Prasad and Cecil and others have also pointed out is the practical ground realities and the reasons, and there are so many inherent reasons why this society doesn't come forward and do what Shivan thinks is the natural thing to do. And that also needs to be taken into account, and we need to understand why this is not happening. And none of us should be proud when we analyze this situation. I mean, it's a matter of shame that it has led to this, that people are afraid to go. And the whole vision that we had recently of people standing in knee-deep water, by their homes getting flooded, not willing to open up and speak a word. And I think these are signs of a society that needs great repair. And that is something which can happen. Of course, in a democracy, the electoral system is the only way that can happen. And of course, you have the other pillar, the judiciary, the press, to all work together to this change. But in some way, I know that all of us here and the panelists especially are change agents, and this discussion would at least kind of lead to the hope that change is at least around the corner, whatever that time frame may be. I thank all our panelists for their time, most importantly, and their views and the points that they've brought to the table, making it into hopefully a very meaningful discussion. Thank you.